Let's begin with the foundations. Welcome to another lecture. Today we examine the arc of Aldon Smith, a case study in extraordinary athletic output and the fragility of professional availability. I am Professor Alexei. With me is Priyanka, whose questions tend to rescue us from our own overconfidence.
I guess we can start by thinking about who he was. Aldon Smith was, one of the NFL's most explosive early career edge rushers. And also, a person whose legal troubles kept changing the shape of his career. I'm glad we're talking about both sides at once.
To frame our discussion, a few terms. A sack is the act of tackling the quarterback behind the line of scrimmage during a pass attempt. An edge rusher is a defensive end or outside linebacker attacking from the perimeter, tasked primarily with pressuring the quarterback while maintaining run force. The Pro Bowl is the league's all-star recognition. All-Pro denotes the best players at each position across the entire NFL in a given season. A suspension is a league sanction precluding a player from games. Conditional reinstatement is a monitored return subject to compliance. DUI refers to driving under the influence, a recurring legal category in Smith's record.
Maybe the best place to begin is by asking a simple question. Why did Smith matter on the field? Like, quantitatively? What made him different as an edge rusher?
Well, the early outputs were historically fast. Drafted 7th overall by the San Francisco 49ers in 2011, he recorded 14 sacks as a rookie without starting a single game. In 2012, he became a full-time starter and posted 19.5 sacks, which set the 49ers' single-season franchise record. He earned first-team All-Pro and a Pro Bowl selection. By late November 2012, he reached 30 career sacks in just 27 games, the fastest in league history at that time. He amassed 33.5 sacks across his first 2 seasons, exceeding the prior pace benchmarks associated with Reggie White. This is rarefied air, the kind we plot as outliers in the upper right of any performance scatter.
And the stakes behind the definitions are human. Legal issues can interrupt a career's compounding. It makes me wonder how often we underestimate the impact of non-sport variables, like substance use patterns or mental health access, on what fans call legacy.
Clearly, availability is a decisive constraint. In Smith's case, repeated DUIs and related matters led to a 9-game suspension in 2014 and a 1-year suspension in 2015, followed by missed seasons in 2016 and 2017 without reinstatement. We observe how much prime output resides in those absent intervals. The field is not merely about talent. It is also about probability of being on the field.
Basic history might help us anchor that. Could we just walk the timeline a bit?
Let's start with the history. Born September 1989 in Greenwood, Mississippi, raised in Missouri, Smith developed at Raytown High School as a two-way player. On defense, he produced 60 tackles, 21 for loss, and 12 sacks as a senior. On offense, he caught 34 passes for 570 yards and 4 touchdowns. He arrived at the University of Missouri, redshirted in 2008, then in 2009 delivered 60 tackles and 11 sacks, earning Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year. In 2010, he added 48 tackles and 6 sacks across 9 games and declared early, moving into the NFL. He was drafted 7th overall by the 49ers in 2011. That rookie season, he reached 14 sacks without a start and was the PFWA Defensive Rookie of the Year. In 2012, he set the franchise record with 19.5 sacks and helped carry San Francisco to Super Bowl 47, a 34-31 loss to the Baltimore Ravens. Notable flourishes include a 5.5 sack game against the Chicago Bears in November 2012 and an interception of Tom Brady in December. By 2013, he opened fast, then entered treatment following a DUI arrest in September, missed 5 games, and returned to finish with 8.5 sacks in 11 games. The pattern of legal and disciplinary events accelerated. A 9-game suspension in 2014 limited him to 2 sacks. An August 2015 arrest on alleged hit-and-run, DUI, and vandalism preceded his release from the 49ers. He signed with the Oakland Raiders in September 2015 and posted 3.5 sacks in 9 games before a 1-year suspension issued in November 2015. He missed 2016 and 2017 without reinstatement. The Raiders released him in March 2018 following a domestic violence-related incident that police described as non-lethal in nature. Details of that private interaction rely on reports rather than direct observation. Subsequently, there were arrests for violating a protective order and bail conditions. In 2019, he was stopped in Kansas on suspicion of DUI, then a return. In 2020, he signed with the Dallas Cowboys, was conditionally reinstated, started all 16 games, logged 53 tackles and 5 sacks, and notably returned a fumble 78 yards for a touchdown, one of the longer such plays in Cowboys history. In 2021, he signed with the Seattle Seahawks, but was released before playing. Subsequent legal issues included a second-degree battery warrant in April 2021 and a December 2021 DUI in California that led to a 2023 felony plea and a 1-year jail sentence. After release in October 2023, he said he was done with football. In June 2026, at age 36, he was found unresponsive in a vehicle in San Jose after delivering food to a homeless shelter and was pronounced dead at a hospital. The day's final note was a charitable act, a detail that resonates.
So, I guess that kind of sums up the chronology. But can we also mention any disputed items so we stay careful?
It is worth noting that several incidents include disputed elements. The 2014 LAX confrontation included an allegation by a TSA agent that Smith said he had a bomb. After interviews, authorities declined charges, indicating he did not clearly state that claim. The 2012 party incident in Santa Clara County, during which Smith was stabbed while reportedly attempting to break up a fight, generated later weapons charges that were reduced to misdemeanors. Witness accounts vary in detail. In 2018, the domestic violence allegations specifics come via reports and the complainant's statements. Officers did not witness the event contemporaneously. Such ambiguities require cautious interpretation. Before we get to the complexities, a personal note. I use Smith's career when teaching risk management. We plot 2 curves, the capability curve, which for him spikes immediately, and the availability curve, which collapses as off-field hazards accumulate. The pedagogical punchline is dry but durable. Even elite edges cannot pressure the quarterback from the courthouse. Students remember that one, perhaps because it is grim and true.
Building on that, can we pose 3 big questions to organise the rest? First, historical impact. Second, a counterfactual if suspensions had not happened. Third, what remains unresolved today about supporting athletes with off-field risks?
Let's proceed to the next point. Big question 1. What is Aldon Smith's historical imprint? In the positive ledger, he is among the most explosive early career pass rushers we have recorded. The 49ers rookie sack record at 14, the franchise single-season record at 19.5, fastest to 30 career sacks at 27 games, 33.5 sacks across his first 2 seasons. The team reached Super Bowl 47 with his rush as a central driver. Career totals close at 52.5 regular season sacks in 75 games, plus 5.5 sacks in 8 postseason games.
I'm curious about context. People sometimes compare him to J.J. Watt or Von Miller. Can we say how those comparisons work without being unfair?
In this context, we must separate rate from duration. Watt accumulated dominant seasons across a longer, more continuous window, and he played a different interior edge hybrid role with a comparatively clean availability profile. Von Miller likewise paired elite rate with longevity. Smith's early rate metrics aligned with such names. For example, reaching 30 sacks by game 27 and 33.5 by the close of year 2 is a pace in their neighborhood or beyond. However, the subsequent availability gap truncated the cumulative record. Consequently, the historical comparison is one of peak rather than career totality. It is a mountain steepness without the length of its ridge. Next, let's explore big question 2, the counterfactual. What if the suspensions from 2014 through 2017 had not occurred? We can infer ranges rather than certainties. His first 2 seasons produced 33.5 sacks. In 2013, despite missing time, he posted 8.5 sacks in 11 games. A conservative projection for the lost seasons, say 9 to 12 sacks per year, would add approximately 36 to 48 sacks to his ledger. Placed atop the 52.5 actual total, we reach a hypothetical band near 88 to 100 plus, which typically places a player in the long view of franchise leaders, and in some cases near broader league milestones. It's important to understand that such arithmetic is illustrative, not predictive. Injuries, scheme changes, and variance intervene.
What if we thought about the 49ers' outcomes? Could his full availability have changed a close postseason game? For example, that Super Bowl, which finished 34-31.
Speaking of narrow margins, a single high-leverage pressure or strip sack can swing an expected value calculation in a one-score championship. In Super Bowl 47, he recorded 2 combined tackles. Had the broader arc of availability and peak form persisted uninterrupted from 2012 through subsequent postseasons, we can posit a non-trivial probability of added impact in tight games, including that 34-31 result. However, we should resist definitive claims. Football is noisy and counterfactuals are asymptotically unknowable. Still, the probability mass shifts in favor of the team when an all-pro level edge is consistently present. On to our next point. Big question 3. What remains unresolved today about off-field risks and athlete support? We observe continued debates about the adequacy of mental health resources, substance use interventions, and the calibration of discipline versus rehabilitation. Leagues now speak more openly about counseling, treatment pathways, and conditional returns. Teams expand wellness staffing, yet efficacy data remain uneven. A support system succeeds when it reduces incidents and restores durable availability without masking risk. That is a difficult equilibrium to measure in real time.
Can we maybe now look at how policy shapes behavior? Like, does conditional reinstatement work? Are suspensions deterrents or just delays?
To elaborate, conditional reinstatement can create structured accountability and access to services. Its success depends on enforcement fidelity and the player's underlying readiness. Suspensions signal norms and can interrupt dangerous cycles. Yet if unaccompanied by effective treatment and post-return scaffolding, They may simply pause rather than resolve risk. Smith's 2020 comeback with Dallas illustrates potential. After nearly 5 years away, he opened with 4 sacks in 3 games and finished with 5 and a 78-yard touchdown return. Then subsequent off-field events reappeared in 2021. Policy tools must therefore be paired with sustained clinical and social supports. Otherwise, we replay the same sequence with different jerseys.
Maybe it's just me, but I keep thinking about how people can hold two truths. That someone can be historically great at a craft and also be struggling. It makes me wonder if our fan narratives have enough room for that complexity.
Fundamentally, we benefit from narratives that accept multitudes. Smith's record shows both excellence and interruption. 49ers franchise marks, fastest to 30 sacks, playoff productivity, and contemporaneously documented DUIs. A series of legal cases, including a 2012 weapons matter later reduced. A 2018 domestic violence-related allegation as reported. A 2021 DUI culminating in a 2023 sentence, and an early death in 2026 following a charitable act. History should preserve the whole picture. Otherwise, we learn the wrong lesson.
So yeah, moving on toward the end. What should listeners take away if they want to study this more carefully?
To summarize, Aldon Smith was a top 10 draft pick who became one of the league's most dominant early career edge rushers. He set 49ers records in 2012 and reached pace marks previously associated with Reggie White. Off-field issues and suspensions derailed prime seasons, leading to releases, a prolonged absence, a brief but notable 2020 return with Dallas, a stated retirement from football in 2023, and his death in 2026. Our 3 inquiries were these. First, his historical impact rests on a peak of rare efficiency. Second, absent suspensions, he plausibly approaches 90 to 100 plus career sacks and perhaps influences close postseason margins. Third, the present debate asks whether current support systems genuinely reduce risk or simply defer it. Further study should interrogate the design and measurement of substance use and mental health policies in professional sports, ideally with longitudinal outcomes rather than anecdotes.
That was helpful to think through, actually. Thank you, Professor. And thanks to everyone listening to another lecture. We'll see you next time.